Then I wake up. I'm not sweating or screaming. I'm perfectly calm. I just open my eyes and I'm awake. And it's not a nightmare. It's just part of me, who I am. I don't fight it. I just live around it.
Not a nightmare, huh? Well, I hate to say this, but I don't think that's true anymore. Hello everyone, Professor Scaly here, and welcome to the R8B1 level guide. As always, we're starting off with your loadout, and today I recommend you bring along with you a bio tracker, a mine deployer, and 2 burst sentries. The reason why I like the bio tracker is because, well, it provides information for you and your teammates. Being able to tag enemies is always quite nice. In this level, there are some areas that won't have the best lighting in the world or will be covered by a little bit of fog, so it just helps out in these moments to more easily deal with the enemies as they're coming after us. Mine deployer, I like this one for the level as there are quite a few alarm doors we're going to have to make our way through, and almost every single one of these alarms we will be able to place at least 1 or 2 mines on certain doors to just blow up a lot of enemies all at once and give us a much easier time while we're working on those scans. As for the double burst entries, we're utilizing these a lot for every single alarm in the level, as for the moments where mines can't help out all that often, we're going to be able to use funnel strategies by leaving specific doors open, and just ensuring that almost every single enemy comes in through one narrow corridor area where we're going to have both of our sentries set up for a nice little kill point. I like bringing burst sentries above the other ones as they are just overall the best in the game, have been for quite a while now. They work in almost every single situation, not many moments where they really fall off, so double burst sentries will work perfectly. If you want to swap one of them out for maybe something like a sniper sentry or auto sentry, by all means go on ahead. Your results will vary a little bit, but you should still be able to find success with it. Dropping down into level, you'll see that your main objective is to collect 3 data cubes, and you and your teammates are going to be starting off inside zone 135. In here, not really a whole lot to take note of, just enemies to deal with, resources to collect, and at the northern end of it, you'll find a security door to zone 137, which is going to have a full team scan tied to it. And zone 137 is basically the same thing again. More enemies to deal with, more resources to collect, but that's about it. At the far northern end of it though, you'll find another security door, this one to zone 138, and it will have a class 3 alarm tied to it. And as you can see with this map overlay, things are a little bit weird because I've discovered enemies like to spawn 3 rooms away down in that much larger area. So what I like to do for this alarm is have this door right here shut and mined, and then I will have this northwestern door shut, but I will not mine it at all, as we're going to be leaving this eastern door over here open to funnel enemies in through this direction, and then we're going to place both of our sentries outside near that door in the other area, just so as they're coming down the corridor, the sentries will start taking shots at them and picking them off bit by bit. Other than that though, you don't really need to do anything else for the setup, so get everything good and going, and once you're ready to go, activate the alarm, work on the scans, and once everything has been taken care of, you can then head into zone 138. As for zone 138 itself, in here there will be more enemies and resources, but more importantly, you will be able to find your very first data cube. Now, once you pick this one up, you're going to be teleported out into the Nightmare Realm, specifically zone 138 in the Nightmare Realm, and in here there's not going to be any enemies for you to deal with, no resources to collect either I believe, but you will be able to find another security door, this one taking you to zone 139. Now this security door is just simply going to have a full team scan tied to it. However, going into zone 139 in the Nightmare Realm, you're going to start seeing some Nightmare Strikers and Nightmare Shooters. Dealing with them is not all that much different compared to regular Strikers or Shooters, there's just no head on them, but there are tumors on the front of their chest and the back of the chest which will give you damage multipliers, so the easiest way to stealthily deal with them is just a fully charged hit to the back in their tumor region. Either way though, you're just going to be making your way through zone 139, dealing with all the enemies, and throughout here you're going to be able to find 3 different security doors. One to the west, which takes you to zone 140, one to the east to zone 141, and one up to the north to zone 142. Now that northern security door is just simply a full team scan, and it is an optional resource zone, which there's not a whole lot of difficulty behind going in there, so I would actually recommend go in there right now just to get some extra resources, as it's not going to be changing up the future alarms all that much. Now, inside zone 142 though, there's going to be 3 enemies, specifically 2 Nightmare Strikers and 1 Crawling Scout, which is also a new enemy to the game. Now, the crawling scout is very similar to a regular scout, although it's crab walking along the floor, so it's moving quite a bit faster. Its tentacles will extend and retract quite a bit faster, and also if you touch any of its tentacles, you have a whole lot less time to finish that thing off before it fully alerts, goes immune, and lets out a scream. So I would recommend either shoot it in the head with a weapon that can one-shot it from a safer distance, or just go up from behind it, fully charge hit to the back of the head or front of the head, depending on which melee weapon you use, and you should be able to get rid of it pretty easily. Once you dealt with the 3 enemies in here though, there are going to be a lot of resource packs you can pick up. You will be able to come back here later, so if you can't use everything right here and now, no big deal, just grab what you do need. And then we're going to make our way over to the western security door to zone 140. This door is going to have a class 5 diminished alarm tied to it though, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a cheat map overlay, because the nice thing is later in this level we go into the same area, so even though you can't actually look at the map in the Nightmare Realm, I was still able to technically get a map overlay. So as you can see, you're going to be in that far western room, and enemies could spawn either down to the south, over in the eastern room, or if you open up that resource zone, they can also spawn up north. If you don't open up that area though, then of course enemies can't come from that direction. As we're setting up for it though, we're going to want to make sure that the 2 far eastern doors are left open, as those are going to be needed for an upcoming alarm, and the 2 doors that lead into your room, northern one, you're going to want to shut it, but the southern one, you're going to want to leave that open to funnel enemies in through that little corridor area down below in your room. Then you're just going to place both of your sentries down there, so no matter what direction enemies spawn from, they're going to go through that door, through the line of fire both of your sentries, and you have a much easier time working on the scan. And that's really all there is to it. Once you have everything set up, activate the alarm, get to work on all of them, and once you finish this alarm, deal with the enemies, pack up your sentries, and you can head into zone 140. Now in here, there's going to be more enemies for you to deal with, more resources to collect, and there's also going to be your second data cube you need for your objective. And once you pick this one up, you will be teleported back out into the normal reality realm, or whatever you want to call it, but then shortly after it, you're going to be teleported right back into the Nightmare Realm, and now you're going to be told to head over to the eastern zone to the security door to zone 141. This door is also going to have a class 5 diminished alarm tied to it, and as you can see with yet another map overlay, it's pretty much the reverse as before. Enemies are going to be spawning down south or to the west, and they can also spawn up north if you did open up the supply room. And how we're going to want to set up for it is have the 2 western doors shut, as we do not need to preserve these anymore. And then the 2 that lead into our room, we're going to have the northern one open, as we're going to try to funnel enemies in through there. And the southern door, we're going to shut it, place a mine on it, and if you happen to come across a seafoam grenade, go on ahead and seafoam it as well, because this funnel is not foolproof. If enemies spawn from the west or up north, they will go through the open door. But if they spawn from down south, more often than not, they'll run next to that closed door to try to get to the open one, and sometimes they will lock onto it and actually break it down, in which case the funnel will fall apart. Hence why we have seafoamed it and mined it, just to give us a little bit of extra defense, and also because if we hear enemies breaking it down, we could quickly run over and grab one of the 2 sentries and reposition it next to that door, so we have a little bit of extra cover from there. Either way though, same thing as before, once everything is set up, activate the alarm, and once you are done with it, you can then head into zone 141. Now in here, more enemies to deal with, mostly the Nightmare variant, but there will also be a single crawling scout patrolling about in here, so be cautious of it. And somewhere inside the zone, you will be able to find the 3rd data cube you need for your main objective. And upon picking this one up, you will be teleported back into the normal realm, and then the security door to zone 139 will now unlock, this one having a class 4 alarm tied to it. And as you can see with this map overlay, there are 3 different possible spawn locations for these enemies, and no matter where they spawn from, they have to go through 2 doors to actually get into your room. So all 6 of the highlight doors, go on ahead and shut every single one of them, and then the 3 that lead directly into your room, go on ahead and place a mine on each of them, and then your 2 sentries you could place wherever you feel like in the room. Once you're good to go though, activate the alarm, and once you're finished with it, you can then activate the checkpoint scan that's tied to the security door, and once that checkpoint scan is finished, the door will automatically open up. With that, you can then head inside zone 139, and in here things should look familiar because this is the Nightmare Realm version of zone 139 from earlier, although thankfully there aren't nearly as many alarm doors in this area or nightmare enemies you have to deal with. However, there will be some regular strikers and shooters, so go throughout the area picking them all off one by one, and then once you've done all of that, you can head over to the eastern side of the zone, I believe it is, to the security door to zone 140, where there's going to be a full team scan that you're going to have to do, because in order to progress further, we need to get our very first bulkhead key. Inside that zone though, aside from the bulkhead key, there will also be more enemies to deal with, another regular scout patrolling about, and of course, resources and everything. So go throughout here, take care of all that business, and once you got to the bulkhead key and all the resources you want, head back out into zone 139, where your bulkhead door control will be right there in front of you upon exiting the zone. And at this point, you can either just continue on with the rest of the main objective, which really all you have to do is just simply your extraction scan, or you could go and do the secondary objective. So for those of you doing the main objective only run, you're just going to do the main scan tied to the bulkhead door control. That will unlock the security door to zone 141, which will have no scan or anything tied to it. And inside that room, there will be a single scout patrolling about, and there'll be your extraction scan as well. And as soon as you step into that extraction scan, an extraction alarm will be initiated, where you will have for the most part to deal with just regular strikers and shooters, as well as a nightmare striker every so often. And once you get the scan at 100%, you're done. You're out of the level. For everybody else though, we have to go and do the secondary objective, so we're going to be doing that scan and heading over to the bulkhead door to zone 172, found at the far western side of the zone, and then just opening it up as there's no scan or anything tied to it. And upon entering into zone 172, you're going to see your secondary objective is to collect a single data cube, which is always going to be located inside zone 176. As for zone 172 itself, in here there will never be any resources, but there will be your second bulkhead key. However, there's going to be a lot of enemies here, and I'm talking about 40 or so regular strikers and shooters. So be very cautious. I highly recommend sneaking your way through or stealthily dealing with as many enemies as you can, I should say. If the room does alert, fall back, utilize some of the doors from the previous area, or just simply place your sentries at the bulkhead door, as that is a good funnel point, and just get ready to hold out against a ton of enemies. Once everything has been cleared out though, you can go in, grab the second bulkhead key, and at the far western end of the zone, you'll find a security door to zone 173. This door is going to have a class 5 alarm tied to it though, and as you can see with this map overlay, there's only one possible spawn location for these enemies and 2 different doors they could potentially go through. So go on ahead, head out there, shut and mine both of those doors, and then you can just have both of your sentries facing towards the open bulkhead door, a little bit further into the room though, so they have more time to shoot at the enemies, and that's really all the setup you need to do. Once you have finished this alarm, you can pack up your sentries as well as aim the mines if they did not go off, and then go into zone 173 itself. Now, when it comes to zone 173, there's going to be a lot of different rooms you're going to have to go through, and throughout these rooms, there's going to be a fair amount of regular strikers and shooters, and a whole lot of giant strikers. And you could sneak your way through the entirety of the zone if you want to. You technically don't have to kill any of the enemies except for the ones in the very last room of the zone, but if you want to play it safe, you could just melee kill or shoot your way through the rooms one by one, and once you get to the far southern end of this area, you will find the security door to zone 174. Now, this door is just simply an open security door, no scan or anything tied to it, and inside zone 174 is one big circular room. In here, no resources whatsoever, although you can potentially find a decent amount of C-foam grenades and maybe even C-foam trip mines, but guarding this room are going to be 3 crawling scouts patrolling about. So make your way through, deal with them one by one, and once you've killed off all 3 of them, you can then go to the southern end where you find a security door to zone 175. This door is going to have a class 4 alarm tied to it though, so we have to deal with the scouts before we can actually do this alarm. And as you can see with this map overlay, once again, only one possible spawn location for these enemies, and there are 2 different doors they could potentially go through. So shut both of those doors, mine them, and then have your sentries in the room facing towards the open security door, and you should be good. Once everything is taken care of, pack up your sentries, and then you can head into zone 175. Now, zone 175, there will be resources in here for you to collect, and there's only going to be one enemy. Specifically, a tank, which will be sleeping at the far back of the room, always in the exact same position. Now, you do not have to kill this tank by any means. If you want to, you could sneak past it. However, the security door to zone 176, which is next to it, is going to have a full team scan that's actually going to move away from the door and go right underneath the tank itself. But there is plenty of room on that scan, so you can just sneak onto it and avoid waking up the tank and then go back and open up the door. But if you want to play it safe, or you just simply want to kill it because you're bloodthirsty, by all means go on ahead, shoot that tank. Plenty of C-foam grenades and trip mines from earlier, so you could pretty easily C-foam him in place and get an easy kill. But once you're done, you can open up that security door to 176, and in here, no enemies whatsoever, just simply going to be that data cube in one of the boxes or lockers, and once you pick it up, your secondary objective will be completed, and you'll actually be teleported back into zone 172. All you have to do is go back out to the main sector, go to the door control, plug your key into it, do the scan for the main bulkhead door, then just head over to the door, deal with the scout, get on the extraction scan, and just like you would have if you did a main only run, you're going to have to hold out a little bit against some waves of strikers and shooters and maybe even some nightmare strikers. But once you get the scan all the way to 100%, you are done and you have completed R8B1. And that's all there is to it. R8B1 gives us our first taste of the nightmare variants as well as the crawling scout, or as some like to call them, scoots. You know, because they kind of scoot along the floor. Now, those crawling scouts alone are a pain to deal with, seeing how quickly they can alert compared to any other scout in the game. But the nightmare enemies are a whole new can of worms. Or, I guess can of tentacles? And I wonder if the further we delve into this nightmare, the bigger the horrors might become. I'm expecting that to be the case because, let's be honest, I don't think nightmare strikers and nightmare shooters are the only nightmares we're going to be coming across throughout this rundown. As always though, thank you for watching this video all the way to the very end. I do hope that it was able to provide you with some assistance in beating this level. If you have any tips or tricks to this level that you want to share, any questions for me, or you just have something in general that you would like to say, please do let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me, and if you want to join my community, there's a link to my Discord down in the description, as well as some other links you might be interested in. Among those links being one to the official GTFO merch store, which, as always, I highly recommend you check out if you're a fellow GTFO enthusiast and you're looking to pick up some sweet merch. 'Tis the holiday season, so hey, what a better time to get something for yourself or maybe for somebody that you like hanging out with or a beloved family member. Until next time, you might want to get yourself a dream catcher as the nightmares will only worsen the further we delve into Rundown 8, and hopefully, I'll see all you wonderful people in the next video.